What is going on, guys, and welcome back to another very exciting video. In this video, we are going to be taking a look at SoFi Technologies. They have a lot of interesting things going on around the business right now. The first being their earnings that are coming up here soon, and they also have some interest from a super investor who is very, very popular in the retail space. So what we are going to do here today is we are going to review their earnings, the expectations around them, not only for this quarter, but also for the year. I'm going to give my opinion on what I think is going to happen with earnings over the next couple of quarters, and then we'll dive into who this super investor is that recently purchased shares of SoFi. So if you enjoyed the video, make sure you drop a like down below, and if you want to see more videos like this one, make sure you hit that sub button. SoFi has had some recent volatility in terms of its stock price. We can see here today the stock is up over 5%, and after hours it moved up another 2%. If we look over the last 5 days, we could see a little bit of that volatility here, getting above the 950 mark and then dropping back down to around the low 9s, and then going back up above 975 and dropping back down below $9. If we look at the last month, we can see that the stock is up 14.5%. Over the last 6 months, here's some of that volatility that we see again. The stock went up early in the year to around $7.75 and then dropped all the way down to lows in May, just under $5. But from May, it has gone on an absolute tear and is up over 100% over the last couple of months. And if we look year to date, the stock is actually up almost 112%. There are a couple of reasons why SoFi is up so significantly this year. The first being the relationship between the Fed and inflation. We have seen inflation fall very significantly over the last 6 months, and what investors are hoping this will mean is that the Fed will start dropping interest rates. And the lowering of interest rates could have a huge effect on SoFi's business. We have seen since fall of last year that interest rates have been above 6%. And what this means is a lot of consumers have taken on high interest rate debt, whether it's car payments, student loans, or even some sort of personal loan. They could have interest rates in the 7 to even 8% range. And if we start seeing those interest rates drop, that allows people to refinance their debt and potentially look at SoFi as a company to refinance under. The second big factor leading to SoFi moving up this year is that student loan interest will resume starting on September 1st of 2023, and payments will be due starting in October. Before the pandemic, student loans was a massive part of SoFi's business. So the payments restarting on these student loans is overall going to have a big impact on SoFi's business, because now they will be more willing to offer these student loans, as well as potentially refinance students who have high interest debt. SoFi is expected to announce their earnings on Monday, July 31st before the market opens. And here on NASDAQ.com, we can see that SoFi is anticipating around -7 cents in EPS. And we can see the same thing displayed here on Google. EPS expected at -7 cents and revenue expected to come in at $473 million. And in terms of revenue, SoFi is a growth machine. They have grown anywhere from 25 to 35% year over year over the last couple of years, and Zacks is expecting that to continue. They have an estimate of $474.6 million, which indicates 30.9% growth year over year. One thing to keep in mind is just because a stock beats on EPS, it doesn't mean that it is going to go up. We can see a chart here of SoFi and their beats. They beat back last year and the stock still fell. They beat again, stock still fell. Beat again, stock went up a little bit and then fell back down. Here, beat again, stock fell. Stock traded sideways after beating here. Stock went down after beating here, and then stock went down after beating here. So there are numerous times in SoFi's past where they have came in with a strong beat and the stock has still traded down. In my opinion, the biggest thing that SoFi needs to try and achieve is profitability. That is what investors want to see moving forward and is what is going to send the stock price higher. So what I want to jump into next is EPS, not only for the current quarter, but also next year. We can see the current quarter here on Yahoo. There are 16 analysts covering the stock. They have an average estimate of -6 cents, a low estimate of -10 cents, and a high estimate of 0 cents. If we see this high estimate hit of 0 cents, I think that would overall be a positive thing for the stock, and we can see see the stock price move up. However, what's interesting for me is the 2024 numbers. We can see there's an average estimate of positive 3 cents and then a high estimate of positive 25 cents. So overall, there's some optimism leading into next year that SoFi is going to reach profitability. And the super investor who purchased some shares of SoFi is Cathie Wood. She purchased these under her ARK FinTech Innovation ETF and purchased around 133,000 shares for a total value of $1.2 million at a closing price of probably somewhere around $9.09. You can find all of the holdings within this ETF on ARK's website. However, the top holdings consist of Coinbase, Shopify, Block, DraftKings, and Robinhood. And these make up around 40% of this ETF. And we can see down here that SoFi sits around 0.75% of this ETF. So overall, I'm really excited for SoFi's earnings. I'd like to see what they announce. I really hope they can get to profitability even on the back half of this year, especially if we start seeing interest rates drop and potentially these repayments of student loans hitting SoFi's business in a major way. Those could be two big catalysts that could propel SoFi to profitability before investors are really expecting them to hit it. So in my opinion, I think this quarter is not going to be a major quarter for them. I think it's going to be the next 2 quarters where we could start seeing some of those benefits impacting the business. But keep in mind, even though we went over Cathie Wood buying shares of SoFi, that does not mean that you should. Never buy a company just because some random person on YouTube talked about. Never buy some company just because a super investor did it. Make sure you are doing your own research and looking into companies that meet your risk tolerance as well as your time horizon. So with all of that said, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure you drop a like down below. And if you want to see more videos like this one, make sure you hit that sub button. And as always, guys, have a wonderful rest of your day.